never did what the other kids did. They used to call me trouble, but I was just doing my thing. Well, people kept saying it would do me good to step back in line like they thought I should, but I ain't no puppet with somebody jerking my string. Well, I'm not rational, can't be practical. I like to walk any way that I choose. I don't want to put my feet on the ground, and I don't want to walk in no sensible shoes. Well, now that I'm older, not much has changed. I make my own rules and I don't play no games. I don't follow fashion, I like bucking the trend. Well, everybody thought I'd have to see the light, but hey, look at me, I'm doing alright. Well, these shoes must be working, 'cause I just got lucky again, baby. Well, I'm not rational, can't be practical. I like to walk any way that I choose. I've never had my feet on the ground, and I've never walked in no sensible shoes. Wow! Take off your sneakers, baby. Slip on something with heels. Yeah! How about some snake skin boots or something, just to see how it feels? Well, I'm not rational, can't be practical. I like to walk any way that I choose. I don't want to put my feet on the ground, and I don't want to walk in no sensible shoes. I'm 23 years old. I've got the hair, the mane of 70s hair. I got $100, my green backpack, and my guitar. I'm skinny. I'm wide-eyed. Somebody says I look like the Campbell Soup Kid. Except nobody could tell if I was a boy or a girl. I can be whatever I want. I'm in California. And I have big, big dreams. I'm couch surfing, Santa Monica, Burbank, Santa Monica, a friend of a friend of a friend, a woman who works at the Hollywood Reporter, sight unseen, takes me in. I'm on another couch. But hey, in my backpack, I have this little reel-to-reel tape of a few of my songs, my very first demo. One day, the woman asked me about it. She tells me she has this friend she works with at the Hollywood Reporter, whose husband is the attorney of the famous record producer and songwriter Bob Crewe. Her friend will give my tape to Bob Crewe. Great! Who's Bob Crewe? Frankie Valli, Four Seasons, Mitch Ryder, sock it to me, baby. Clean yourself up. Take my car, drive to this address in Beverly Hills. Go around the back, give your tape to whoever opens the door. But under no circumstances are you to go into the house. It's dark. Palm trees, rows of palm trees, gates, gates, and more gates. I find the right one, press the button, drive in. There's the servant's entrance, ring the doorbell. Door opens with a wide swing. Big belt, low-cut bell bottoms, silk shirt open, blonde flowing hair, ruggedly handsome. The man grins. I'm Bob Crewe. Come on in. It's been a year. I am Bob Crew's protege. I'm also his gopher, his driver, his sidekick, and his nursemaid. I'm with him nearly 24/7 up in his West Hollywood penthouse. I learn how to sing backup, how to make a record, how to mingle with the music business elite, how to drink, how to snort cocaine. I'm there when he writes Lady Marmalade and My Eyes Adored You. I'm a sexolette. It's the 70s in Hollywood, and I'm in the middle of it. Fairfax Avenue, Cherokee Recordings, Studio One, control room. I'm looking into the fishbowl of this press party. Neil Sedaka, Rocket Records, Elton John. I am going in. You can't go. Oh, yes, I can. I take a breath. I open that big, heavy control room door. I head for the food, try to mingle. Here I am with the hair. I've got the hair, the bell bottoms, the boots, and the rock and roll jacket on. It's a room full of journalists and Elton. I walk up to somebody and start a conversation. We find some connection, thank God. I'm here now, like I belong. I take another breath. Then, coming from the other side of the room, directly toward me, it's him. I don't believe we've met yet. My name is Elton. I don't remember anything else we said. After a few minutes, a guy comes and leads Elton away. He didn't kick me out. Somebody else walks up, Connie Pappas. She asks me what I do. I'm a singer. We chat. She walks away. She didn't kick me out. I start to mingle again, then tap on my shoulder. It's Connie. What are you doing for the next 2 months? I don't know. Why? Elton wants to know if you want to go on the road with him. It's Wednesday night, September 17th, 1975. The next day, I'm in my cockroach-infested, no-bathroom-door, orange shag rug hovel on Honey Drive off Little Laurel Canyon Boulevard in Hollywood. A long black town car pulls up. I hear it. Door opens out. Guy has a stack a foot tall of Elton John LPs. He hands them to me. Okay, I'll learn everything before tomorrow when I start rehearsal. Monday, September 29th, 1975, another limo pulls up. Bell bottoms on, my rock and roll jacket on, I'm whisked off to Burbank Airport. We drive onto the tarmac, and there's the private jet. Rock of the Westies, painted on the side. The background singers, or the BVs as Elton calls us, look up. There's Elton standing in front of the plane. We climb the steps. It's a flying party bar. Red velvet seats line the walls. A young woman in a little outfit offers us a drink. This is rock and roll, baby. The roar. It's deafening. Your song, solo. I stand below and behind, watching, listening in awe. His voice echoes, sending thousands into rapture. The lights beautifully blinding. This is me. I am here. He ends the song, and I walk up that ramp. I'm 4 years old. I'm running down the back stairs into the kitchen. My mother is ironing. I'm excited, energized, self-assured. Mom, don't call me Cindy anymore. My name is Bobby. Why Bobby? I don't know. It's the 50s. I guess it went with Nancy, Ricky, Cindy, Debbie, and Suki, my siblings and me. She didn't really react. I remember her just nodding and saying, okay. Mom never did call me Bobby. But that's the first moment I remember stating out loud who I was. 8 years later, Chebeague Island, Maine. Now I'm playing with my friend Hendy Webb. I am a boy. The only time I have to be a girl is when my mother makes me wear a dress. When I was little, it was the ones with the puffy sleeves and the stitching on the chest, patent leather Mary Janes, braiding my hair. I am a boy. I make my mother cut my hair. This particular day, I am shirtless as usual. It's August. We're running around in the hot summer sun, wrestling on the lawn. I fall onto the dry, prickly island grass. I turn onto my back. My right hand brushes against my left nipple. I feel a tiny little bump. Oh no. Now I'm going to have to pretend to be a girl for the rest of my life. New York City, 1971 summer break. I'm working at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, just being a guy, feeling like a guy. But I'm living a lie. My friends don't know, I don't talk about it. It's just there. It eats at me. I think about it. One day I go to the New York Public Library. I don't exactly know what I'm looking for, something to make some sense out of me. I find a book, a study on gender. It says something about people who felt like they were living in the wrong bodies, transsexuals. There's an address in the book, Tulane University in Louisiana. I write a letter. I want to know how it works, how to change my sex. A few weeks later, Hotel Martinique, front desk. There's a package for me. I run up to my room. I tear it open. Go here, do this. I can do this? I can do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. After the last tour with Elton, I'm a mess. Too many drugs, too much alcohol, I'm playing, partying, private jets and limousines, I'm hanging with famous people. It's high times and high places. I also find myself in strange dark basements with sketchy men and guns on the table. That all ends in September of '76. I go home to my new apartment on Glen Green under the Hollywood sign. I have a piano. A baby grand piano that I bought with the money from Elton's first tour. I have a couple of guitars, a couch, and a bed, and I have a problem. Wine. Cocaine. Cocaine, my drug of choice. I snort it. I shoot it. I can't get enough of it. Then on November 13th, 1976, I get sober. Clean and sober just a couple of months after I get off the road. So here I am in my new apartment playing that baby grand piano. I am now going to write an album and become Cindy Bullens. One day the phone rings. It's Bob Crew. You're going to get a call. I suggested you to sing backup on something. Great, $90. Guy named Louis St. Louis calls me. I show up at the studio. We'd like you to try to sing lead vocal on this song. Lead vocal? Freddie, my love. Good, let's do this one. Raining on prom night. How about a little duet? Mooning. I had this little girl voice I could conjure up. The Grease movie soundtrack. 3 lead vocals. Next thing I know, by some quirk of fate, I make a shitload of money. Soon after, I go to New York City and make my first album, Desire Wire. For 3 weeks, my first single is a hit. It shoots up to #1 in some cities, it's flying up the Billboard Hot 100 chart, and then 3 weeks later, the record company, poof, out of business. I sign with Casablanca Records, home of Kiss and Donna Summer. I make my second album, Steal the Night. Almost immediately, a new record company president comes in and takes over. Among other things, this guy wants me to wear tank tops and dangly earrings. He wants me to be more like Pat Benatar. The album never gets heard. While all this is going on, in October of 1979, I marry Bob Cruz's brother. Dan is older, a Naval Academy graduate, a successful businessman, and gay. From the moment we meet in the summer of '74, we feel some inexplicable connection to each other. Drugs, alcohol, and a few other minor details get in the way at first. But he's the one who drags me out of my drug-induced spiral downward. And in sobriety, he realizes I'm the closest thing to a guy he can get and have kids. So here we are living in the Hollywood Hills. I'm being the androgynous, Les Paul playing, jumping off pianos, female Mick Jagger, when Dan says to me one day, I hate LA. Breathe, breathe, push, push. New York City, Lenox Hill Hospital. We're in the labor room. Dan is beside me. I am pushing, and this baby will not come out. Natural childbirth. I am adamant. It's 1982. Finally, after 12 hours, out pops Reed, my tiny daughter, red and wet and beautiful. Dan cuts the umbilical cord. I watch in awe. I put my baby to my breast that I hate so much. My milk from my breast. This is the miracle of my life. If I ever doubted there was a higher power, I can doubt it no longer. This baby, Reed Elizabeth Bullen's crew, is something from nothing, and she is mine. 9 days after Reed is born, we flee New York City to the 90-acre farm we're renovating in rural Connecticut. Wasn't I just in Los Angeles? Down on my knees, playing big, fat, crunchy chords on my Les Paul, sweating and heaving with the rhythm of the drums and the buzz of the crowd. Wasn't I just there? Now I'm sitting in front of the picture window in this barn, looking out on the cow fields in the misty dawn. It's so quiet. I hear the first bird of the day with Reed at my breast. There's no part of being a mom that I don't like. I don't mind changing diapers. I don't mind the smell of baby poop. I accept and expect being thrown up on. I'm in absolute love with my baby. After a while, though, There's a chasm in my brain. Culture shock. It's not the gender thing. That's not even in the realm of my thinking right now. It's the creative part. Then I get pregnant again. I cannot live here in the middle of nowhere. I am losing myself. I have to move. I want to go back to LA. No way, says Dan. We do move from Sherman to Westport, Connecticut, where the women wear those little flats and drive their kids in Suburbans and Mercedes to the Montessori school. We buy a house on Minuteman Hill. Dan and I are monogamous. When we marry, we never even think about having an arrangement because he is gay and I am whatever. We love each other. We make a commitment to each other. We try to fit in. This new baby, it has to be a boy. I feel it stretching, flexing, like it's exercising in my belly. February 24th, 1985, here comes Jesse. This baby is quick. I see the mouth as I'm pushing out the head. It's spread across its face. Oh no, it's going to look like me. Reed came out looking like the Ivory soap commercial. Jesse comes out big, blue, bloody, and smushed. I'm shocked when the doc says she's a girl. Cindy Bullens, almost rock star, man in a woman's body, mother of two, married to a gay man, living in Westport, Connecticut, right smack in the middle of the Gold Coast, driving a minivan. I make an album, the eponymous Cindy Bullens. Dan makes it happen. It's another chance. But it fails miserably. No one in the company wants to promote guitar-driven rock and roll. It's 1989. It's Michael Jackson and Madonna. Now I'm in my late 30s. And in the music business, I might as well be dead. I'm devastated. Making music feeds me. I need it. I honestly believed that I was going to be successful. What in God's name do I do now? I can write songs. That much I know. I go to Nashville at the suggestion of some songwriter friends. They like me there. They believe in me there. I am embraced and respected. I commute for 5 years, first from Connecticut and then from Maine. I reinvent myself. I make lifelong friends. And I'm a successful songwriter now. Nashville saves my musical soul. Better build your house on a rock, or watch it crumble and fail. Better build your love with hammer and nails. I can see it in the darkness, as if it was broad daylight. Feel it way down in my soul when I hold you tight. Well, it takes much more than passion for love to prevail. Gotta raise it up with hammer and nails. With hammer and nails, we're gonna build this love. Right before Thanksgiving in 1995, Dan brings Jessie to the doctor. This will be the umpteenth time we'd taken her since September. She wasn't her strong, buoyant, funny self. She's coughing. She's getting weaker, thinner, sicker. Dan tells the doctor he's not leaving until they find out what's wrong with her. Blood test. Anemia? I immediately fly home from Nashville. It's not anemia. I take her to get a chest x-ray at the Maine Medical Center the next day. We drive back to Dan's house in Cumberland when we're done. Dan and I are separated now. I live in Portland. He's standing in the doorway as we walk up the path of his house. I see the look. Pack a bag. Back to the hospital. Surrounded by specialists, Jessie's admitted. Cancer? I asked someone as we walked to her room. No. Way down the list. Jessie endures a week of prodding and poking, tests and biopsies. Finally, the first week in December, she's diagnosed. 4th stage Hodgkin's disease. She's 10 years old. Rare at her age, but if you've got to have cancer, the doctor tells us, this is the one to have. 95% cure. Low dose of chemo. We are reeling. Jessie rallies a bit. Dan and I put our differences aside and try to keep it as normal as we can for both kids. It's up and down. I'm in a perpetual state of shock. In February, for Jessie's birthday, the doctor gives us the okay and I take the kids to Key West. But Jessie isn't well. We spend our nights in the local ER. She couldn't be in direct sunlight because of the chemo. One day at dusk, Reed and Jessie are playing on the beach. I'm sitting on a rock watching. Suddenly I can see right through her. We fly back to Portland the next day and go directly to the hospital. The doctor brings Dan and I into this little room and tells us that Jessie now only has a 50-50 chance. She can't die. She can't die. This kid is nothing but good. There's a plan, stem cell transplant in Nebraska. I'll fly out with Jessie. Reed and Dan will drive out a few weeks later. We're to leave in 3 weeks. Meanwhile, they up the chemo. She's delirious. She has a fever, vomiting, hallucinating, in pain. She's admitted. Dan and I take turns spending the night on the little cot in her hospital room. This particular morning, I wake up. Jessie is laying there quietly. Guess whose birthday it is? I gently kiss her cheek. Happy birthday, Mom. Dan comes in. Jessie insists on brushing her teeth. Dan helps her out of bed and into the bathroom. She can barely walk. My heart is breaking. Back into bed. A nurse comes in with a trainee. Do you mind leaving the room? She asks. What? Why? Just for a moment, please. Okay. Fine. Mom, where are you going? Her words ring in my ears as we leave the room. Suddenly, bells, sirens shouting. Dan and I rush out of the waiting area and rush to Jesse's room. Get out! Get out! There's my baby, flying by me on a gurney, surrounded by doctors and nurses. Dan and I stand in shock. Finally, someone ushers us down to intensive care. She's there, hooked up to 1,000 machines. I barely recognize her. Dan and I sit by her all day, numb. Reed comes in with a family friend. God knows what she is thinking and feeling. Later, I'm standing outside the cubicle. The neurosurgeon walks up to me and without any warning says, "I have bad news." What? Wait. Dan is in there with Jesse. Wait. Dan, come out. She is brain dead. I collapse into a cold metal folding chair. An unrecognizable sound escapes from my soul, shattering the world around me. I cannot grasp what I am hearing. It's March 21st, 1996, my birthday. Family and friends come in for the next day and night to say their final goodbyes. I marvel at Jesse's good friends, siblings, aged 10 and 11, as they touch her, kiss her, whisper in her ear. Their mother says she saw tears in Jesse's eyes. Later that night, Reed informs us that Jessie is no longer in her body. We take her off life support around 2 a.m. on March 23rd. It's a decision that haunts me. There is a comet overhead this night, a blazing light. She's gone just after sunrise at 7:28. I curse the night I watched you slip away. Wouldn't have done no good to beg you to stay. You were here beside me, but now you're gone. And I'm just trying hard to carry on. But there's no rhythm in the rain. There's no magic in the moon. There's no power in this pain. Till to love at any cost. Little did I know the price was so high, losing forever in the blink of an eye. And there's no rhythm in the rain, there's no wishes in the stars, there's no power in this pain, till somewhere between heaven and earth I could hold you again. If I could one more time feel your hand in mine, hear your voice call my name, and whisper sweet goodnight, then there'd be rhythm in the rain, there'd be magic in the moon. There's no such thing as love in vain, and somewhere between heaven and earth you'd be with me again. And I will see you again, and I will hold you again, my baby. Somewhere between heaven and earth, somewhere between heaven and earth, somewhere between heaven and earth, I will see you again. I write this song 3 months after Jesse's death. I'm in my apartment in Portland. I aimlessly wander room to room. There is no point to my life, only Reed. I have to live for her. But otherwise, there's nothing. No ambition, no future, only grief. A black hole of nothingness. One foot in front of the other, I walk, I run, by the water, day and night, endlessly. I have to move. One day I see my guitar. I pick it up. It's this tangible thing in my hands, wood and string. It feels familiar. A song emerges from my being, and I am horrified. I have just written a song about the death of my own child. Then I think, if I were a painter, I'd be painting. If I were a poet, I'd be writing. Or a sculptor. I'm a songwriter. I write songs. Under the horror, I feel this tiny, tiny spark of energy. This music was connecting me to life, and I was connecting to Jessie. 3 months later, I write another song, In Better Hands, praying that Jessie is. 3 months after that, 1,000 Shades of Grey. I had had that title in my notebook for 10 years. I didn't know what it was about until now. Now I'm thinking, okay, 3 songs. I'll record them. I know how to do that. I go to Nashville. I gather up my musician friends. They know what I'm doing. They know they are helping me. I have no record deal, no goals. I'm doing this for me. It gives me something to do. It's not until the 4th song, after I go to Paris with my friend Santi. It's 9 months after Jessie's death. I had to do something I had never done. I had to go somewhere I had never been. We walk, and we walk, and we walk. The lights of Paris. I come home. I write the song. Maybe I am going to write more songs. But I go into a deeper black hole. A close friend abandons me, can't handle my grief. It unhinges me. I break. I have no ground on which to stand. Everything I thought was real and true is no longer. Life has betrayed me. Reed is 14 now and trying like hell to find her way. I have her. She doesn't have me. I barely speak for 2 months. Thank God for Dan. We're back living together now, supporting each other and trying to be present for Reed. I don't go out of the house. I want to erase myself from the face of the earth. One day, I'm sitting on the side of my bed, unable to move. I feel not despair, not anger, not loss. I feel nothing. I am void of anything. This is the moment you pull the trigger. I've got to believe in something. I've got to believe in something. I decide to go to Nashville again. Now I have 7 songs. I write, I gotta believe in something, As Long as You Love, and Boxing with God. I meet with songwriter and producer Rodney Crowell. I want his input, maybe his help. I trust him. You have to do this album, he tells me. You have to. But it must be all about Jessie. Nothing else, no filler, or you will regret it. Okay. Okay. But now I need 3 more songs to have an album. 3 more songs that come from the sacred place in me. They somehow come directly from my soul, unfiltered, pure, and raw. They are all moments in my grief. They come and I write. That's it. There's no thinking, no crafting. There's no way there are 3 more of those. At my friend's where I am staying in Nashville, I am discouraged and depressed. What am I doing this for anyway? This is stupid. I'm done. I'm sitting on the couch. It's pouring rain. It's dreary. It's gray, like the way I feel. I hear a voice. Mom! I turn over my right shoulder as if Jessie is right there. Get on with it. Finish it. She's yelling at me. Then I feel like I've stuck my finger into a light socket. This tangible, physical shock runs all through my body. I am buzzing. I write Water on the Moon and Better Than I've Ever Been that day. The next day I decide to go home. I'm in my room gathering up my stuff. A baby cardinal taps at the window and flutters in place to make sure I see it. Cardinals have become the symbol for Jesse. I smile. This is crazy. Later, I'm out packing up my Jeep. The same baby cardinal comes and lands on the passenger side rear view mirror and stays there the whole time I'm packing up the car. I can't help but smile. I get in the car. The little red bird flies off, and I start driving north. Early the next morning, as I'm driving, on a napkin, I write, just outside of Baltimore, north on 95. Out comes the song, The End of Wishful Thinking. That's it. I have the songs. Just outside of Baltimore, north on 95, headed for New England, trying not to close my eyes. Well, I could pull right over and give myself a rest, but sleep's just one more stranger that I've added to my list. And it's too early in the morning, too late in my life to write a different story, to hope for different lines. Forever really means that no amount of dreaming is gonna bring you back to me. And it's the end of wishful thinking. It's the end of wishful. I've become some kind of vagabond. I cannot stay at home. It's hard to be with people, and it's hard to be alone. So I just keep on driving, searching for a clue, but I know I'll never find you, no matter what I do. And it's too early in the morning, too late in my life to write a different story, hope for different lines. I guess it's finally hit me what forever really means. That no amount of dreaming is gonna bring you back to me. And it's the end of wishful thinking. It's the end of wishful thinking. Yesterday when I was leaving Tennessee, The sweetest little red bird came to say goodbye to me. Oh, it made me smile. Oh, maybe it is true. At the end of wishful thinking will lead me back to you. And it's too early in the morning, too late in my life to write a different story, to hope for different lines. And I guess it's finally hit me what forever really means. That no amount of dreaming is gonna bring me back to me. And it's the end of wishful thinking. It's the end of wishful thinking. It's the end of wishful thinking. I have no expectations of what will happen with this album. I just move forward. Production, artwork, so many friends are helping me with every aspect, coast to coast. New York, Nashville, Los Angeles, Maine. It's a collaborative effort. It's an entity all on its own. This energy that struck me in Nashville that rainy day stays with me for 6 months until the project is complete. And then it leaves. I decide to press, sign, and sell 1,000 copies of my new CD for the new Jesse Bullens Crew Foundation. I'll give the money to the Maine Children's Cancer Program. This is all I expect for it. Then I get a record deal. Friends play it for friends, and boom, there I am, back in the music business. Somewhere Between Heaven and Earth becomes the biggest album of my life and my legacy. Columbine High School, April 20th, 1999. Everyone in the world is horrified, mystified by this senseless tragedy. I feel compelled to reach out and send Somewhere Between Heaven and Earth to the parents of these 12 kids. Somehow I find a couple of addresses. I write a letter to go with the CD. Not 2 weeks later, I get an email from one of the Columbine fathers and another from a mother. They contain the contacts for all the families. I had pressed up those CDs, was selling them by word of mouth and starting to get letters. One day I'm sitting in the parking lot of the Portland Post Office. I read my first letter from a bereaved parent. A woman had lost her daughter. I cry as I read it. My words, my music touched a place in her that nothing else had. She knew she was not alone. I knew at that moment that there was a purpose to this I could never have imagined. The commercial release feels strange and weird. I'm back in the music business with record execs and publicity people and managers. This album is about my daughter and her death. It's confusing. But the opportunity to share these songs gives me one more reason to live. In the game plan are some gigs out west. On the way back from Seattle and Oregon is Littleton, Colorado. I know I have to stop there. By now we're corresponding. I would do a private concert only for the families of the Columbine victims. There in Littleton, there are long hugs and tears. I'm taken to the high school. I'm told the stories. I meet all of the families. We share our collective sorrow. I play my Jesse songs in the same church where many of the funerals were held. It is by far the most profound concert I have ever done. Little did I know, it was to be the first of many for bereaved parents over the next 15 years. What I call my Jesse gigs. My father stays in his room in South Carolina. He once was a mighty man. My mother feels the fear rise up inside her. She thinks it's the beginning of the end. He's boxing with God. He's showing all his stuff, and it may not be enough, but he's a fighter. He's boxing with God. He's going round for round, and he might be slowing down, but he's no quitter. My youngest child is now an angel. She lived her whole life in 11 years. And I've never known anyone who was braver. And I can't believe she's gone, but she is. She's boxing with God. She's showing all her stuff, and it wasn't quite enough, but she's a fighter. She's boxing with God, and it's all in the plan. I'll never understand, but it don't matter. I get in my car and drive to New York City. I'm trying to lose myself on some highway. A mile for every teardrop that has fallen. I hope there's something there to ease my pain. I'm boxing with God. I'm showing all my stuff, and it's probably not enough, surrender. I'm boxing with God. I'm going round for round, and I might be going down, but I'm no quitter. Everything is before or after Jesse's death. There's a barrier between them. Life after 3, 4, 5 years, even to breathe again. I record more albums, perform more concerts for bereaved parents, palliative care and hospice conferences, workshops on death and dying at colleges and universities, regular gigs, touring in Europe, Australia, Canada, and all over the States. After Reed graduates high school, Dan and I are divorced. We had been on the verge right before Jesse got sick. I moved back in after she dies. He saves me. We save each other. If you believe in fate, in destiny, and past lives, something brought Dan and I together and kept us together, in spite of our differences, our issues, my issues. We are inextricably tied to each other. But now, I have to live without him. I drove past our house upon Mockingbird Hill. The ghost of our love must be living there still. There's a bike in the driveway and a dog in the yard. No indication that life can be hard on Mockingbird Hill. Yeah, yeah. A mockingbird steals a song from the air. He don't care. We fixed up that house upon Mockingbird Hill. Every inch of it handled with consummate skill. With a 3-car garage and a new swimming pool. It's hard to believe we had everyone fooled on Mockingbird Hill. Yeah, yeah. The mockingbird steals a song from the air. He don't care. 2 babies on Mockingbird Hill. And each would defy you with their own iron will. Now one lives in the sky and one lives in LA. You can't forgive them for going away from Mockingbird Hill. Yeah, yeah. The mockingbird steals a song from the air. He don't care. The mockingbird steals a song from the air. He don't care. In 2006, Wendy Waldman and Deborah Holland, old friends from times past, come back into my life. They live in Los Angeles. We get together at a songwriters festival in Nashville. They want to put something together with me. The California Song Girls. I resist. Finally, after months of badgering by Deborah, I fly out to California. We sing. It's magical. But I am not being a California song girl. I come up with a name. The Refugees.
Break free, let me be.
The Refugees allow me to have fun, to laugh unhinged and unencumbered. The singing and the harmonies, the challenge of the musicianship, the camaraderie of 3 good friends. It is magical. I allow my spirit, for the first time since Jesse's death, to fly without guilt and that unbearable heaviness. The Refugees allow me to live for myself. In July 2011, I'm feeling pretty good about my life. I'm doing a little part-time gig as a personal trainer at the Y. I'm playing music. The Refugees are going strong. I have a feeling of comfort and peace within myself that I actually note. All is well. Then I get a Facebook message. A young friend, she'd moved away. I knew she had changed her name, but I hadn't seen her in 2 years. It's really important. I need to tell you something. I message back and say, call me. She calls, leaves a message, and I hear this low voice. I call back right away. I wanted to tell you that I started transitioning a year ago from female to male. I'm living my life as a man. My mind explodes. Every fiber of my being becomes alert. Wow, I am really, really happy for you. How does that work? Where did you go? What did you do? I asked every question I had wanted to ask for 50 years. Nowhere in the time my friend and I were close had we ever talked about being transgender. Yet here he was, someone I'd come to love as a friend. He had changed his sex from a woman to a man. I get off the phone. I fall to my knees. I sob, heaving up every moment of questioning, every look in the mirror, every time I got out of the shower since I was 12 years old, I put my hands up to hide my breast. Every time I walked into a public restroom, ladies, women, disconnect. Every moment. 19 in New York City, Hendy Webb's lawn, and thousands more moments flood my brain and fall with the tears. I get up off the floor. I am pacing like a caged animal. This energy, this angst, this pushing at, out, and through my body. I don't know what to do. I call Reed. Reedy, what are you doing? I need to talk to you. No, it is not about you. I pick her up. We drive. We park in the dirt of a local dairy farm. I'm still crying. Cars are driving in and out. People are getting ice cream. Regular people with regular lives. They don't know that one more time, the world I know is no more. Mom, you have to do something. You have to address this now. I had told Reed about my feelings when she was around 18. She didn't flinch. She had, since puberty, railed against me and questioned why she didn't have a normal mother who could show her how to put on makeup, whose jewelry box she could raid, and who wouldn't just sit in the man chair at Victoria's Secret while she shopped. Today, she gives me her blessing. We decide I would start with a gender therapist. I love my daughter. I immediately become obsessed. I read and watch everything on the subject of being transgender I can find. I had been holding this part of me in some place somewhere. It was never going to happen. I'm too old. People know me. I'm Cindy Bullens. I work with bereaved parents. I have friends who are born-again Christians. The box that this little boy had been held in for 60 years was disintegrating. A bomb went off in my life. I can never go back. I make an appointment with the gender therapist in Boston. I walk in, guns a-blazing. I'm ready. I don't think she was ready for me. Her clients are questioning. I have no questions, except when do I start? Within a few weeks, I get the go-ahead to start hormone replacement therapy. I had to be diagnosed, gender dysphoria. Meanwhile, my sister says I could lose half the people in my life. What about so-and-so and so-and-so? Okay, I'll lose half the people in my life. Somebody else. You're much cooler as a woman. You're androgyny. It's part of your charm. Don't do the obvious and become a man. Somebody else. You can't do this to Reed. With all that she's been through, I know. It's selfish. And all of that could be true. But I have to find out. I have to explore this part of me. All of my life, people have been telling me to try and find and honor my feminine side. You know what? I bore 2 babies. I breastfed them both. That's about as feminine as you can get. And FYI, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I did a great workaround in my life. I was just Cindy Bullins. Clothes, hair, walk, attitude. What you see is what you get, on stage and off. And yeah, it was "Can I help you, sir?" at 9 months pregnant. I was called my husband's son more times than he would like to acknowledge. But I was just me. So now I need to explore the other, the forgotten, the forbidden, the masculine side of me. My very wise daughter says to me on the way back from our joint session at the therapist, "Mom, here's the gender line. You've always been on just this side, the female side. Now you're moving over to just this side, the other side of the gender line." Brilliant. 2 months after that early July phone call from my friend Dallas, on September 1st, 2011, I take my first shot of testosterone. I feel like I have found my magical missing ingredient. Estrogen, I realize, has been the bane of my life. I decide to sell my beautiful baby grand piano that I bought with the Elton money, that had been my prized possession for 36 years, to have top surgery. I was nervous, scared, and very excited. I had great visions of what I was to become. In her inimitable fashion, Reed brings me down to earth. "Mom, don't forget, you're transitioning into an old man." Breathe, breathe, push, push. Dan and I are there, riveted, locked in on our foul language spewing daughter. Reed is coming up on 18 hours of labor. Finally, with her fiance Derek by her side, Toby Crew Vijay is born, a tiny clone of her dad. A rush of love, awe, gratitude, and memory flood through me. I think of Reed's birth. I think of Jesse. I pray for the life of this brand new baby girl. Holy shit, I'm a grandmother. Gravity and Grace, they're two close friends of mine, but it's hard to get them in the same room at the very same time. Gravity's so grumpy, he brings everybody down. My friend Grace, on the other hand, she's the sweetest girl in town. Gravity I battle with, and he always makes me cry. I can't seem to win a fight, no matter how I try. Grace looks through the window, waiting for a sign. When I've had enough of gravity, she will find her way inside. And I have my suspicions that I've harbored for a while. When they pass each other in my life, I swear I see them smile. Yes, I have my suspicions that they're not so far apart. Maybe they have some secret covenant in matters of the heart. Grace I don't see often, so I'm grateful for her time. She has a way of soothing me that makes me feel just fine. But a funny thing always happens. I forget her when she's gone, and I let gravity hang out with me, and he stays for way too long. And I have my suspicions that I've harbored for a while. When they pass each other in my life, I swear I see them smile. Yes, I have my suspicions that they're not so far apart. Maybe they have some secret covenant in matters of the heart. I think they have some secret covenant in matters of the heart. Charlotte comes exactly 2 years after Toby. She's a peanut. She has a sly glint in her eye, and she looks more like her mother. They call me Rah-Rah. I figure it stands for rock and roll. They are full-fledged people now at 9 and 7. And I have a new grandson, Hunter. He's 8 months old. Those kids are the lights of my life. And life is pretty interesting these days. I'm in a relationship. She says with me, the transgender thing is the least of her issues. My granddaughters know that I am their grandmother. They also know that I've changed from a woman to a man. They sometimes ask me questions about it, and I answer. They also ask me for ice cream, to go swimming at the Y, and to cuddle up and read on my bed. I asked Toby one day if she was bothered by some people's confusion over just who or what exactly I am. She looked at me with a mix of tedium and love. To us, she stated firmly, you are just our Rah-Rah. I smile. I am a hybrid after all. Not quite all this, and not quite all that. Indeed, I am truly somewhere between. There's been a lot of things said about me. Since that awful day, I'm not the person that I used to be, and that I'll never be the same. Well, that's true, no I'll be better than I've ever been. If someone told me 20 years ago that this would be my life, I'd lose the greatest gift that love can show. I'd have said, no, I won't survive. But don't count me out. Sometimes I'm stronger than I've ever felt, and I laugh louder, cry harder. I take less time to make up my mind, and I think smarter, go slower. I know what I want and what I don't, and I'll be better than I've ever been. Maybe I'll be better than I've ever been. There's a curious freedom rising up from the dark, some kind of strength I've never had. Though I'd trade it in a second just to have you back, I gotta try